Hello, this is Professor Gibson. Welcome to a video on Chapter 6, Section 3, right, for Math 114. And the good news here, the great news really even, we are almost finished. This is the last section of new material in the course. So this last section here, this 6.3, it's about three different kinds of means. There's a geometric mean, an arithmetic mean, and a harmonic mean. Now the arithmetic one is the one that we're used to, okay? So which is really two new kinds of means, and then the arithmetic one kind of comes along, right? Just as a show you what I mean by that. So arithmetic, and abbreviated AM for arithmetic mean. It's for use when you're just averaging up a bunch of numbers. It's the same kind of, average or mean or whatever you've been taking probably since fourth or fifth grade. When you need the average of a bunch of numbers, you add them all up, you divide by how many there are. Done. Now, when you need to average a bunch of rates, if you try to do what the arithmetic mean does, in other words, if you try to just add them all up and divide by how many there are, you get a number, but it won't be the right number. It won't be the average rate. You have to use this harmonic mean formula. And let's say each rate is a capital A, like the first rate is A1, the second one's A2, and so on out until you've got n of them, however many that is, right? Then your formula is n divided by 1 over the first rate plus 1 over the second rate plus 1 over the third, etc., till you've got them all. Okay? This formula, this particular formula, assumes that you're using the rates for the same, they're weighted together equally. All right. The third one, okay, is this one called the geometric mean. And it's for use when averaging growth factors, okay? Remember, so from the previous section, if we have some money invested or something is one way, it's an exponential type thing. But let's say we've got $500 invested at 6% interest, so it'd be 1 plus 0.06 at 6% per year for, say, I don't know, T years, however many years, right? The growth factor, this 1 plus 0.06 is the growth factor. In symbols, it's 1 plus R. Okay, so you need to understand the reason these are F's in here is these are factors. R is the rate, right? R is the annual rate. 1 plus R as a whole is the factor. So these are factors. If you stick rates in here, it won't work. I mean, it'll give you a number. It just won't be the right number. It won't work. So the thing you have to be very careful about with questions with this geometric mean and averaging growth factors or decay factors is that you have to be careful if they're asking you for the factor or the rate. Okay, you put the rates into the geometric mean formula. Okay, you put the I'm sorry, I said the rate, so that you put the factors, got to be the factors into the geometric mean formula. If the rates in it won't work, all right? So put in the factors, and then if they ask you for a rate, then you have to subtract 1. So for example, let's say we did one of these, and our geometric mean when we were done turned out to be 1.063. And they asked us for the rate. They say, what's the rate, right? Well, the factor is 1 plus R, is 1 plus the rate. So you take that 1 plus the rate, make it equal to the 1.063. Right? Just subtract 1 from both sides now. The rate then would be 0.063. Or if they want it as a percent, 6.3%. Okay, it's not so much that it's tricky to go back and forth between the factor and the rate, is you have to remember, right? You really got to pay attention to the detail and notice which one they're asking you for and use the right one in the right situation. Okay, so let's look at, one other type of thing that comes up with these growth factors. So a totally different way they'll do this is instead of giving you a bunch of factors like they did or a bunch of rates and ask you to compute the average, a lot of times, by the way, what they'll do with these finding the average growth or decay factor, is they'll give you the rates. And then, so what you got to do is add 1 to each rate to turn them into factors. And then after that, plug them into the formula. Okay? Now, this other situation where we're talking about growth and decay stuff is instead of giving you the rates and the factors, they're going to give you the values at 2 points in time, y1 and y2 we'll call them. 2 different points in time, some sort of n time units apart. All right? What you do then is you take the second one, right, the new divided by the original, if you will, in our terminology we've used before, so you're going to do the newer one divided by the original one. And then you're going to raise it, you're going to take the nth root. Okay? If you don't have an nth root key on your calculator, you can do it like this. You can put parentheses around it and raise it to the 1 over n power. Okay, so this will get you the factor. If you want the rate, then when you're done, you got to subtract 1 off of it. Let's do it on an example. An investment account has $95,000 at the end of 2012 and $134,000 at the end of 2019. If no further investments were made during this time, what's the factor? What's the average factor? What's the average rate? So the first thing you got to do, so we're going to do the newer, the 134,000, divided by the original, which was 95,000. And then we have to take a root of it, right? We want the nth root. What is the n? Well, we're going from 2012 to 2019, right? So that's 7 years. So we would take the 7th root. So if you know how to do the 7th root on your calculator, great. If you don't, again, what we would do, open parenthesis, 134,000 divided by 95,000, close parenthesis, exponent key, open parenthesis, 1 divided by, and then that was a 7, so 7. And then hit enter. Okay, let me do this on my calculator. And I get 1.050. That is the factor, okay? That is the factor. If I want the rate, okay, that's R, right? So I just got to subtract 1. 1.050 minus the 1. In other words, it's the decimal point, right? The rate is 0.050. That's an annual rate, or if they ask for it as a percentage, 5%. Okay? So in some ways, honestly, the main difficulty of this section is keeping track of which of these different forms you're using. All right? So let's look at this one. You average 44 miles for the first 20 miles of a trip, and then 55 miles for the next 20. Okay, what's the average speed? Well, a speed is a rate. This is miles per hour, miles per hour. So we have to use the harmonic mean. Okay, there's 2 of them, right? So the harmonic mean, right? Harmonic mean is how many there are over 1 over the rates like that. So in this case, there's 2 of them. And it's 1 over 44 miles per hour plus 1 over 55. Okay, now I'm going to punch this in your calculator, do it just like this. Use the parentheses, do it just like that. All right. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 2, hit the divide key, open parenthesis, 1 divided by 44 plus 1 divided by 55, close the parenthesis, hit enter. The number is 48.89, or to the nearest tenth, 48.9. It says 1 decimal place. 1 decimal place. 48.9. Okay? Miles per hour. Part two, if you then average 75 miles per hour over the next 20 miles, now what's the average? Well, now there's three of them, right? It's the same idea, only instead of averaging the first two, now we're averaging three of them, so that's a 3. And first it was 1 over 44, then it was 1 over 55, and now we're adding in a third leg, and it's 1 over 75. Type it in just like that with the parentheses, and we will get, I get 55.3 miles per hour. Okay, that's the harmonic. You don't get much clue, you just have to notice these are rates. Miles per hour is a rate. Okay, that means you got to use that harmonic formula. Next, company stock price rose 3.9% in 2011, and in 2012 it just took off, went up 76.3%. Now the nice thing about this is on most of them, maybe all of them even, but for these ones where it's they want us to use the geometric mean, they at least usually tell us that. So company stock prices rose 3.9%. If 1 year, 76.3%. What's the 2-year average? All right, so first, right, 3.9 is 0.039, and 76.3% is 0.763, right? So we have to turn these into factors. 1.039 1.763. I'm going to multiply them together. We'll go back up here, see the formula for this one, and through it again. Okay. Well, so there's 2 of them. So n is 2. There's just 2 of these factors, right? 1, 2. So what we do then is we take this and we take the square root. If there had been 3 of them, we'd take the cube root, whatever. So again, what we're going to have to do is we do something like this, or actually there's an Excel option for this. So in Excel, the command is geomean. We would type equals GEO MEAN and open parenthesis, and we're going to have to put in the factors. So you're going to have to put in 1.039, comma, 1.763. And if there were 2 more of them, you just put them in, separate them by commas, close parenthesis. All right. What it gives us back is 1.3534 and some more. In other words, we put in factors, we get back the average factor. So let's go over here to see the question. It asks for the rate. Right, well, we got the factor. To get the rate, we just subtract 1. And then it asks for the percentage, right? Just move the decimal over 2, 35.34%. If someone purchased $1,000 of company stock at the start of 2011, its value then of 2012 was what? Well, here we've got the factor. Okay, so from the start of 2000, so this is the 2 years, right? So what you do is you turn this into, you plug this in. You start at $1,000. We have our 1.3534, and we're just doing this for 2 years, right? You do that, you can use the squared key for this or the caret 2, either one, and you'll get $1,831.76. Okay. In part B here, they tell us that there's this other company, $1,000, 2,000. Oh no, part C has a geometric mean rate of return of 10.6%. Right. So if the geometric mean is 10.6, the factor is 1.106. Okay. And then this question says, what happens if you put $1,000 of that for those 2 years? All right. You do that. Out comes 1223.24, and then this number is less than the other number. That's it. I hope you found it helpful.